Hello, my friends. This is Father Michael Stala. I have been working on my doctorate of ministry, and we had a meeting on Tuesday where I invited those that are part of the Oasis, which are the parishes of Saints Rita's, Our Lady Guadalupe, St. Mary, Resurrection, St. Barnabas, Holy Angels, and Saints Cosmas and Damian, to come together to see how we can collaborate with each other. At the meeting, I invited the pastoral staffs as well as the clergy to attend the meeting. We didn't have a large number of people come, but those who came were very helpful for the discussion. So as I kind of give you a summary, I ask you to really consider it and email me any considerations you might have. So the topic that we had, I gave a presentation about my experience in the missions. When I was in the missions, I was in charge of 26 parishes or churches that were considered one parish together. And each one of them had their own finance council, parish council, youth group. Each one had to do their own thing. So I had to go and travel among them. Obviously, I couldn't have Mass there every single day, but I would go there on at least once a month. And whenever I was there, that's when we would collaborate whatever you needed a priest for, whether that be for baptisms or weddings or whatever. But in addition to that, I would take a great amount of time, probably 90% of my time in the missions, preparing the laity so that they could continue the work in the absence of a priest, which would be most of the time. So as we trained them, my objective was always to create lay missionaries. Since I was the missionary going forth, that's what we would create so that they could do the work in my absence. What we ended up finding was that not every community was equal. Some of them had a great deal of talents, and some of them were very poor on the talent side of things, or even materially. Sometimes it was a dirt-floored house that we were having Mass in. So what we tried to do is we took the strengths, whatever those strengths might be of one community, and once they got to a certain point where they were beyond self-sufficient, we would ask them to come and help with specific kind of areas to their neighboring community. And it was through the parish that those needs and those abilities were even aware, we were even aware of those. So it was our role to find that connecting point. Of course, somebody who goes forth in the name of the church is commissioned to go forth to do so, really takes on a stronger identity of their Catholic faith, takes on an ownership of the responsibility of what we do as a church. And so that was very helpful for their souls. And of course, the community that received such helpers, whether it be for youth group or helping to develop a choir, whatever the gift that was brought over, was always a great, wonderful aspect of their community. Their community would now grow in that way. We were trying to develop every community to become able of producing on some level missionary disciples, somebody who could go forth and help other communities. In the end, it's very important that everyone realizes they have some gift to offer. Even if they have more needs than they have gifts, they have something they do well. So whatever it is that they did well, we ask them to share. Whatever they didn't, whatever they needed, we would find the connections. If we found that there were certain needs that were beyond anybody's ability within the different communities, for instance, we at one time wanted to put on a major parish retreat, and we needed to bring in certain speakers. So what we did, being a mission territory, I would reach out to the United States or to Guatemala or to a developed part of El Salvador and ask them to provide for us missionaries or speakers or talented artists. Whatever it would be, we could then bring in, and that would be a benefit to multiple communities simultaneously. So whenever we brought somebody in, that was a gift for all of us. The idea that I have with my doctorate of ministry is to look at our communities, our parishes, and to see what are the strengths that we have and turn those strengths into gifts that are offered. And our parishioners who are very well developed should receive some level of recognition for doing such a, being such an important part and member of the church, and now being sent forth commissioned to help either other ministries within the parish or in this project going out to one of the nearby parishes and helping them in their needs. So every strength becomes a gift. At the same time, doing an honest assessment of where we are as a parish and realizing there are some areas that we were stronger in, some areas that we're weaker in, we could use some help. and to recognize that every weakness now becomes an opportunity to receive a gift. Always with the objective in mind, let's try to develop our parishes so that we're capable of producing missionary disciples. We're capable of producing those who can go forth outside of our parish to help others in the greater church, to be part of the greater mission of the church. So with this in mind, we opened up the discussion with those who were present, and I asked them three basic questions. The first question is, how do you see the model that I was using in El Salvador as being both adaptable and not adaptable, or challenging to adapt to our context here in the United States? They had some really good points, and starting with the negative side of things, there are some differences. First of all, I was the pastor of all 26. In this circumstance, I am not the pastor of all these parishes, nor do I want to be. That's not what we aim to do. So it does mean levels of leadership, collaborating with each other, that would be more difficult to do than if you were just one leader overall. And that's true. And that's why we're doing this as a process rather than just an edict of some sort. Another thing was that when I was in El Salvador, I was the best show in town. I mean, they didn't have movie theaters. They didn't even have a gas station. So that meant that people were really willing to react and respond to what was being offered by the church. Of course, here they have lots and lots of distractions, lots of options to take, which is hard to get people to say, yes, I'll take that extra challenge, that extra effort to go and do something like this, when I'm always balancing my time among all the other very good options that I have each and every day. And not just entertainment. I mean, there's lots of good things that they do civilly and as well as with their families. So we have to keep that in mind. So it isn't going to work exactly the same as the missions. Another aspect is that the needs were so great in El Salvador, those who have needs here might not see the fruits of receiving this kind of help very quickly. Where El Salvador is very obviously receiving certain fruits. Down there it would be, or up here it might be a little bit harder to see the progress that we're making. Very valid points. On the other hand, there is a sense of we are very good at evaluating, and we have a really good number of people who are quite developed. And although currently we're not very aware of what each parish is doing and not doing, we started to see that there's lots of ways in which we could start collaborating together. My second question was, why do you think so few people participated in the conversation that we were having at that moment? And so this was a recognition of where some of you might be coming from as well. We recognize, a lot of the efforts that we're doing feels like one more level of bureaucracy. So, you know what, I don't want to go to another meeting, just send me the video. So having the video might be a little bit of a crutch. But again, I really want you to consider writing me an email with your comments, with your suggestions, with your perspective, so that we do have some sort of communication, because this is part of not only the project, but the benefit of having collaboration. Otherwise, people were saying, well, I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into. I'm not sure what this is going to be about. Is this going to be just one more thing on my agenda? Which I'm really trying my very best to be respectful. You have a lot on your plates already. Another thing that we said, well, maybe people weren't really showing up as much to is there are ways in which they're already receiving what we're talking about. For instance, in the parishes that have life team, they often get together and they pray together. And they're already collaborating and communicating with each other. So this feels like something that is not needed for that ministry in particular. And I do understand that as well. Part of the paper, the doctorate of ministry that I'm putting together in this project, is to recognize what are some of the obstacles to collaboration. And this is identifying a few of them for us. And it really is interesting that so many of us say, yes, we want collaboration. Yes, we want both to receive help and to offer help. But we also have a strong sense of parochialism, a strong sense that we feel like we should be doing this all ourselves. And anytime somebody's looking over my shoulder and starts noticing where my weaknesses are, it feels like an affront on ourselves. It feels like I haven't done my job. And that's not where we want to go, nor is that an accurate description. It's just a feeling that we have. It's a normal feeling, and it seems to be very common that we feel that way. Somehow we have to find a way to overcome that. It's not right or wrong that we feel that way. It just is. We do. That's the reality. Now what do we do with that? And again, I really want to make it an effort for us to aim for the easiest ways in which we can collaborate, just to start that level of relationship, so that we're not doing this looking over each other's shoulders or comparing ourselves or triumphalism or competition. I really want us to genuinely look for the good of the people that we serve. And so how do we do that, given the human factors and the things that happen emotionally with us? And just accept that as a reality and say, okay, what do we do with that? So that's what we're going to aim to do. We will have a further discussion about obstacles of collaboration, and it'll be something just between us. I'll turn off the recorder and we'll have a discussion about that in the future. My last question is, who do you think we should invite to the next meeting? The next meeting is designed as the heads of ministry, so we had to pick some ministries that we felt would be most beneficial in doing this. And one of the participants had pointed out, we don't even know what ministries are available and not available in other parishes. So I said, well, that as much as that is true, I'm trying to put together a list, and I'm going to contact all of the parish offices and ask for a list of the ministries that are currently active and their contact person. I'm not going to invite every single ministry to come. We identified a few that it might be useful to do, but we had to have a sense of what would we do in collaboration. So I came up with a list, and I'm going to send it to you along with this video, that is the different methods of collaboration. So collaboration doesn't always mean the same thing. Again, when we talk about collaboration in the Oasis, I'm not saying all 7 parishes are doing the same thing, but that each parish in the Oasis has some level of relationship with another parish in the Oasis. So how would they collaborate? Some might just get together and share best practices. Like if you were going to do a faith formation program, that makes sense to do your PSR. Each parish has their own to create that sense of community. But it would be maybe worthwhile for the DREs to get together, as they do sometimes, and share their best practices. Maybe there are some ministries that we could combine parish efforts together for a specific event that we would be too small to take care of on our own, but together we could do a very good job. Like we had the Theology of the Body Conference. Father Draga brought up a couple of other examples. Perhaps a divorce and separated group. You know, each one of us has people who have needs, but nobody has like the center, this is the contact person who's going to set the dates and draw the parishioners from multiple parishes to help them in their needs, whatever that might be. Another example he gave was perhaps something with the special needs, you know, having a mass, a community event, something for the special need families. A third way of collaborating might be to offer simply alternative times for ministry, like we do with pre-Cana. Each one of us has a pre-Cana, but we try not to do it on the same weekend, so that if couples can't make one weekend, maybe they can make the other weekend. This does require a little bit of coordinating so that they receive apples and apples and not completely different programs, that we recognize each other's program. Another way might be presenting our best sessions. Instead of the people moving parish to parish or gathering all to one central location, each one stays in their parish, but the presenter, the teacher, would travel. So maybe I do a really good talk on the missions, and I could do it at my parish, and I could do it at Our Lady of Guadalupe, and I could do it at St. Rita's, and each one of those parishes would offer me a teacher who would do these. So instead of me writing 3 lessons, I'll do one 3 times. They'll each do their best session 3 times, and we could share that way by simply sharing presenters. An example of that might be for like adult formation. Another model would be to send helpers and presenters to assist current ministries. I can imagine if we were developing a retreat in our parish and saying, boy, it would be really good if we had somebody who had experience. So we ask 2 to 4 people from a neighboring parish that has been doing this for years, could you come and be part of our team and help us get up off the ground until we're ready to do this on our own? So that would be another way to do it. We're just going to send you 2 to 4 people, and that'll be our collaboration. They'll be on your team this year, and they'll help you get up off the ground. Another might be to rotate locations. We did Mission Mondays, and each Monday during June we moved parish to parish. And that really helped people to get a sense of the greater church, to kind of, especially for the youth, mixing it up a bit. That doesn't work for all ministries or all events because people like to go to their home parish. But for some events, that might be a really good way to do it. It also helps to kind of distribute out who has to host and all the efforts that are involved in hosting. And finally, there might be a limited number of shared events. I can imagine like RCIA. Each one of us should properly do it in our own parish. But what if we did the retreat day together? That would give our candidates a chance to, our catechumens might have a sense of the greater church while primarily having a sense of their home community base. So there are different models that we could be using. We're not saying that everybody has to do it the same. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put together the list of the parish ministries that we think would be really good to get into the same room that we had discussed. If you have some suggestions, send them to me. I'm going to put them in a room in October, and I'm going to show them these models of collaboration. I'm going to ask them, what is a practical way for us to at least begin some sort of collaboration? And see what comes of that. What's the easiest routes? Now, I'm not going to initiate that kind of collaboration. We're simply brainstorming at this session, and I'm going to ask for their help on kind of the ground floor. What would it look like for us to collaborate? What would be the best model of collaborating if we chose to collaborate? And some of them might say, you know what, I can't see this happening, which is a good input. Or some might say, you know what, any of these will work. And so they'll need somebody to kind of flesh that out a little bit. But I will make sure that all the pastors are aware before any formal collaboration is happening so that they're in agreement, because you see things at a bigger level and you understand how the pieces and parts connect to each other. So I will make sure that everybody's okay with that before we formally begin this in January to see what kind of collaboration we're able to create. But I do want to get the boots on the ground people, the heads of the ministry, to talk about what they can envision as being a possible model of collaboration in their ministry. And again, it doesn't have to be with every community in the Oasis, but at least with one. So we'll see what comes of that. Our next meeting is going to be in October. I will send out a reminder, and it is on our list of all the upcoming events. I believe, let me check my calendar real quick. I hate to do this while you're on here, but I believe it is going to be on Tuesday at 7 o'clock on October the 16th. So that's when I'm planning to do it over here at Twin Haven at St. Cosmas and Damien. Keep me in the loop. Feel free to give me a call, too, if you just want to talk something over, okay? God bless you, and thanks for your help in this endeavor. Bye-bye.